Welcome back to Never Famous. We'll be reacting to this clip and trying to figure out why this video got 20 million views in under 7 days.
That's because we're late. Because the shit happened like a week ago or something. But I know it's been going crazy. It has like 25 million views so far. So I just wanted to quickly just watch it and react to it and see what we got.
Strong as beat.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, north of Richmond. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds.
What you think?
He said milk welfare. Yo. Hey, yo. Yo.
But you get what else he was talking about or no? Have you been catching on to the lyrics or no?
Some of them, but some of the middle, like a little bit more back. Like the Northmen, some shit. I didn't I didn't know what he was talking
I
about.
caught the part about the miners.
Yeah, and the island, like the Epstein Island type shit.
So Men North of Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I didn't catch
Okay.
that. I
Cool,
didn't.
but then if you could go back a little bit, because I missed what he just said now.
Politicians, look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. God, if you're 5.
And the whole beast.
And,
milking-
and the obese.
Okay, because I'm reading this shit. And the obese milk and welfare.
Mhm.
Yeah. So do you kind of get it? So these lyrics are very, very. I would say this guy's a lyricist. If he was rapping, you'd probably be going crazy right now.
Mhm.
Because his play on words he's straight on with it, but his plays on words is pretty good. So right now he's pretty much hitting on how we have so many homeless people.
Yeah.
They don't have anything to eat or drink, but then you have the obese milking their welfare. So you have people like milking the welfare system because they don't want to work and so on, but they're all obese. But yet we can't figure out a way to help out those that are
Homeless.
and out.
Um,
He's spitting facts right now is what he's doing.
yeah, but it's not bars. Like, he ain't rapping. You know what
That's what I'm saying. You're not
It's just-
catching
it's
on
you
because
can-
he
you
ain't
can put
rapping.
anything on a like you can say anything when you harmonizing it and like one of them country beats. You can say it. You can say almost anything and it sound fire. I'm gonna keep it a stack.
No, but he's actually
But
like
it-
saying some shit though.
No, he's saying some shit, but it's not like some bars. But he is saying some shit though.
No, it's definitely not because that's it's not the
Nah,
some bars over a country song.
actually shit. Whole beast smoking. Well, yeah, that last one right there.
He said the obese. That's my favorite line so far.
I can say whole beast. That's what I'm reading. But
Yeah, I know that the YouTube title joint is not accurate.
But how accurate do you guys think that is though?
Oh, what he's saying?
Obese milk and welfare.
It's true.
Because obviously the people that are homeless aren't going to be obese because they're homeless. So I'm just gonna assume that they can't afford to live. They might not be able to afford to eat either. I'm just gonna assume that on average.
But the people that are on welfare technically cannot afford to eat either. That's the reason why they're on welfare.
But
They're not working.
They might.
They choose not to.
Yeah.
So honestly, right now, I think he's depicting the state of America right now. Like if this was a painting, this is like a great description of what America is like from an outsider looking in.
Yeah.
which is from the beginning of the song, he kind of hit it. It's like, I go to an endless job that's not enough for me to survive. Like, that was the first few lines.
Yeah, because at first he's talking about the everyday man, and then he's starting to get into the different things about the everyday man in America, like how you're saying.
Yeah.
6'3" and you're 300 pounds. Taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn.
Did you catch that?
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, buddy. That might have to take my shit back. He barred it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I start hating, and he was like, "All right, bet. Watch this."
He said, "All right, watch this, partner. I got you right now."
You see, the statistics are going up. You know what I'm saying for men committing suicide, young men. That's true.
Mm,
See, he's spending some shit.
that was a good bar.
I'm shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end.
Do you catch that or no? Is this song going over your head?
No, I'm just thinking about like different things when it comes to this song. I'm gonna be honest. One of the things that I'm thinking about right now is that like he's singing alright, but like I'm also like my mind is a little bit differently. Like I'm like really enjoying this video, like the whole setup, how everything about the video. I feel like
Yeah.
the aesthetic of the video, shit, like the actual production of the video, really is helping to grow a lot. Which sorry, that has nothing to do with the actual song, and that's why I was kind of just staying quiet because I was just really I'm like I really like this video. I'm gonna be honest, and it sounded if you could go back a little bit, there was something that I wanted to actually talk about this one. No, you don't gotta go that far.
People like you wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, cause you're
that right there, probably. Do you get what happened there or no? So like every time he's mentioning the men north of Richmond, he's pretty much talking about the government.
Yeah.
And right there, like that last sentence, like that last piece, like that one hits. Because it's almost like the way that I'm interpreting is they act as if you're not smart enough for us to tell you the truth, even though you are smart enough to take it. So it's kind of like saying that people in power right now are hiding so much from us because they don't believe we're able to handle it or understand it. Like we don't know.
Well, I don't think it's just that because they also hiding shit from us because they finessing us out of shit. But also, we all can't handle it. Maybe like you can handle it, but if they might say some shit that y'all two can handle, but I might not be able to handle.
So you're saying there's shit that you want the government to not tell you about, that you rather not be aware that is happening?
No, but I can understand why they do it though.
Such as?
Like, what's this? If they say some shit that's like,
It's like what you just said. Like some people can handle it and some people can't.
like yeah, like how we say like some art imitates life shit. So what if they like, all right, we know that they're like spoon feeding us as alien shit like babies. What if they have like think of like alien like fucking Superman, like Krypton alien? Because we only might think like alien, like obviously he might not be able
Krypton
to
alien.
fucking do all the extra shit. But what if he just could fly, maybe like 10 feet off the ground? Or what if he's just like significantly stronger than everybody else? Where like he can pick up like an ambulance with like one arm type shit, like some real different shit.
And so like my answer to that is, how do you know who can handle it and who cannot? Like who are they to tell someone you're able to handle it or not able to handle it? If you haven't told them, you don't know if they can handle it.
Yeah, but I feel like they've been fed more throughout time, like little by little,
Who's
like learning. the people that are deciding not to tell us certain things.
People
Who's
in
those
government,
people?
government.
People in government are dumb as shit. Like,
I'm
right?
I'm not saying that they're smart. What I'm saying is they've been getting fed information since they got into office, like little by little, that to where it's more feasible for them to accept certain things and like understand certain things, as opposed to somebody that's like like myself, that's just an everyday working person that's just like delivering hospital beds. That's what I do all day. It might be a little harder for me. I'm using myself as an example to accept like some shit that's just some shit that we've never seen before. That's not like because everything is crazy the first time you see it, and then you start to
Yeah,
like
like
see.
like that's one of those things that I'm like, I will have a hard time like ever agreeing with that. And I get where you're coming from, and I can see where you're getting it, but especially after living from 2020 through 2022, and what the government did, and how much information they hid under the context of you're not able to handle it, it shows you that most people in power are incompetent. Many
What
are.
do you gotta
Like
referencing?
all the shit with COVID, all the shit, the way they lied about.
But they weren't. But what it wasn't that we weren't smart enough to handle it. Is that they blatantly lied to us and about the like the results of knowing that the vaccine barely worked, and then just giving it to us because they knew they were gonna make money off of that shit. It wasn't that we couldn't handle it, or it's not the fact that we didn't like. I obviously know where it came from, how the
Correct.
whole shit
But
started.
like I think this is what this is what he's hitting on, is the fact that the government is like, you're not smart enough to understand that if we tell you the truth. So rather, what they're doing now, you're talking like aliens and shit, like Area 51 or whatever, and even that shit now they're talking about it. But when it comes to like the shit that happened from like 2020 to 2023, we can say that a lot of people in power, in order to retain that power, they chose to lie, even if they weren't going to make money directly from whatever it was. But it was rather, this is giving me attention and power, and I'd rather keep this power because I don't think that people are smart enough to make their own decision about what they should do from a medical standpoint with their life.
I don't think it's that. What I think is that they're saying we aren't smart enough to stop them.
We aren't smart enough to stop them how?
From that whole shit that they literally just did to us. They made billions and trillions of dollars off.
Stop them from doing anything to us.
Because then, yeah, they made money off of getting vaccinated. They made money off of the stocks. They made money off of this and that, and they continue to do a whole bunch of wars and a whole bunch of shit and make money, and the cycle just keeps going. And we talk like now we're talking about it more because it's the beginning of this kind of atmosphere where anybody can just talk about it and record it.
But can they really talk about it? I don't know if we can technically really talk about it, but I think it started, for lack of a better term, we are at a point of internal turmoil. Like if I had to think of like, for lack of a better definition, like if 1775, before people had it with Great Britain and wanted to break free, and then the United States became a country, in a way, I think that's happening right now, where there are so many people that the blinders are coming off, and I think the last 3 years were the catalyst, that now many people are talking and saying it out loud, and now a lot of people are saying is like, just be truthful and say what's really happening, and let me make my own decision.
Right. Interesting.
Because I think that's happening right now. Right now, we're in a state of, like, we're not in a war with one another per se in the literal sense, but I think we are definitely in some form of an ideology war.
Yeah.
Or like a war of the concepts or the minds or something like that.
Yeah, I think that is happening, but it's also like kind of like a propaganda that's pushed too as well. Because I also don't think that it's as like serious and as shit as like how it looks on social media. I don't think day to day that's like as real of a thing.
No, it isn't. Opinion. No, it isn't in that way. But I think if you look at it from a perspective of like look at Bud Light and like what people did, like right now, like their stock is really hurting. I think that's the type of stuff that I think we're gonna see more and more of. Because right now you have people that are like, oh, let's cancel Bud Light. So now they're like not putting their money behind something, so that the corporations can feel it. Because now they're like revolting in a many way against corporations. And I think this is something that, and this is happening from both sides. So like people who are super conservative, I think recently has been Bud Light, but then you also have had it with people in the past where it's like, oh, you supported Trump, let's cancel XYZ corporation or whatever the case might be.
Hence goes back to what you said. You can't really talk about certain things.
So what
stuff like that happens.
So I want you to go back a little bit to what. So what do you mean, like expand more on the 1775 reference with
Like-
what you're saying? Like, because I get what you mean by the division of
Yeah, like right
America
now,
from
like
Britain, but what's the
because remember that's when we decided to become an independent country. Like
yeah, no,
really,
I get that, but
like
how is
really
that?
fight off. And I think right now we either have a very very distinct break in the way we run the government, or unless somebody else comes in and really can unite it.
Independence. What I'm saying is independence from who? From what people? From what group? From what group?
So I don't think it's independence directly. I'm saying internally, right now we're going through some form of. I'll use the word revolution loosely, so that's not what I'm saying. But I think right now we are in the middle of an ideological revolution where we have two major sides. And what I'm thinking is going to happen is like you have somebody that are super liberal, and then we have the ultra conservatives who have been at each other. But I think what's evolving and is making into something is that there's this weird middle of people that like some of this stuff here and some of this stuff here.
Not the weird middle, the majority middle.
I know, but that's just what I'm describing it. And right now they don't have a place to be. So I think that middle is going to cause a disruption in the way the country has been ran. Because I think that the people, there's more people like in the middle right now. Because I feel like even me, I fall like there's some shit that I'm very, very like progressive about, and then there's some shit that I'm very, very conservative about.
So what?
Depending on what you ask me, I'm somewhere in the middle. But there's nobody that I can truly say they have my best interest in mind in government, because they either fall all the way to this side, or all the way to the right side. Like there's not like that balance. So I think more and more people are feeling that way, and for the first time, people are being more vocal, and they're willing to put their dollars behind it by saying, "Cool, all right, I won't buy that beer."
But you're talking about it now. You're comparing business to politics. Like you're like, because I agree with people. Stop people now. We have the effect where we can change the stock of a company. But in politics, whoever you vote in is still going to be in the same system. So doesn't matter what party they come from. If it's left, right, or RFK from the that's like in the middle or whatever.
Well, RFK is in the left. He's not in the middle.
Oh, he's in the whatever. You get what I'm saying? Well, like there's no Green Party that's ever won.
Well,
Or
because
like-
it doesn't exist. But what I'm saying is right now we're doing it with corporations. Like it's happening in some way with corporations. I'm like, next stage can be probably 2024 is going to be a huge representation of that based on who people end up voting into power.
I think that what you're saying can happen. But 24 is too close. Like, because you think about it, this is next year at this point. Like, we're like we're under a year away from
I know,
this.
but I think that's a perfect example. Like right now, you just mentioned RFK. RFK is not your typical left person.
But
Like
you
he's
can't
not your
get big
typical
enough.
Democrat. You get what I mean? And then you have the same shit right now. You have the kid, the Indian guy,
That-
on the right, Ramaswamy. So
You can't get big enough in a year to
sure.
get your name out there.
When did Trump started campaigning in 2015?
But he was famous since the 80s and the 90s.
I get it.
RFK has the name. So he's been campaigning for like under a year, but he has the name, so it's different.
So I don't know. So I view it in one of two ways. One, they're working very hard. If we're going into the politics aspect of it, if we're going very hard into, and I'm like, because I don't think RFK is going to be the candidate. I don't think the left. I don't think that will happen.
Put somebody out.
But I think on the right, though, since they're working so hard on trying to get Trump to go to jail, and that's a perfect example of trying to find any way to politicize, like using politics to create a crime to put him in jail for, so that he cannot be the representative. If that happens, that opens the door for Ramaswamy to be the guy,
I don't think
because he's already number 2.
for Republicans.
Yes.
Nah, DeSantis.
He already passed him.
He passed him.
Yes, sir. So that's what I'm saying. It's like there's
gotta-
so
I
many
gotta
people that are
look into that
aligning
some
with what he's saying. That this is what I'm saying. There's so
Is-
many
is he
people in the
fighting
middle.
Trump though. This guy
Huh?
you're saying, the guy you're saying, is he like? What's his relationship look like with Trump?
He's
anymore?
actually defending Trump, which is very, very interesting.
So he could be PM if Trump was to win.
No, maybe.
Because
I
Trump
guess.
doesn't have a VP either.
Yeah.
And if he ends up going to jail or whatever the fuck, he
Yeah.
might-
But what I'm saying is like I think like even if I go back to the song, it's like the fact that someone like him who came out of nowhere has gotten so much ground is showing the amount of
lack of leadership.
not just lack of leadership, but the amount of transparency that people are hopeful for. Because right now, I don't think there's any transparency, and like the abuse of power was very, very evident in the past 2 to 3 years.
definitely
Yeah,
was.
but I think it's just be like he's gained like picking up that much steam like that is just because of the lack of like people that are like options, honestly, because people are either like there's kind of nobody really in the middle on Trump at this point. Everybody's either for him or against him. What like there's really not too many people that are on the fence for him. Biden is kind of the same shit, but they don't really want. I think they're gonna get him out of here because he's old as fuck, and if so, it's like Kamala Harris definitely she got the lowest approval rating of for any VP ever, so she's out of here. Um, that's what I'm saying. That who the Democrats gonna put out is like, if it's the bull from California, which is fucking terrible. If you see like I keep seeing these videos every day of just um Newsom, Gavin Newsom from
The
California.
dude that was eating at the restaurant in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
And now, like this shit is LA. Well, California period apparently is like a shit show. Like I'm every day I see videos of people just hopping in and out of cars and doing all types of wild shit, just breaking into cars.
Yeah, I've been hearing that more about Cali. Like,
It's kind of bad.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know.
So
I
you're
think
not
that
going for
how much he's grown in so little, I think that's evident of like what people are seeking. I don't know if he'll make it to win or not, but I think that would be an eye opener.
Well, like what it. I feel that's a different conversation than us on this clip. Let's get back to the clip. We off on a tangent now.
Your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, cause the rich men.
I know we just came back to it, but I ain't gonna lie, facts. That shit be getting me mad as shit because then you work like you gotta work. I work my 40 hours, then they tax the shit on my check. Then I gotta work. I gotta work this stupid amount of OT, so I can even get a little bit of OT because they tax the fuck out of that OT money.
and any bonus you get, that's
tax
also
the fuck
taxed
out.
too. Like everything is taxed.
And
It's
then
ridiculous.
if you get to a certain point where like you make like a good enough amount of money after getting taxed, then you're gonna have to pay that shit back in taxes when tax time come around.
It's like they always get their money, no matter what. Like so many different avenues.
Fucking Ukraine, man, getting funded and Philly's going to shit. Anyways.
North of Richmond. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Was it? Damn. I wouldn't call it selling my soul, but I would describe that feeling every day. Like when I gotta go to work, when I gotta drive to work every day, like I wake up, I whatever, boom, boom. Then I drive to work, spend my whole day at work, drive back, go to sleep, do the next same thing the next day, then the next day, the
Kind
next
of
day.
feels like you are. Like,
I'm like,
I think this
fuck.
goes right back to part of the conversation we're having of people doing shit that doesn't fulfill them, and like as a job right now. And I think this is a decent representation of like the everyday man and probably what's going through their mind in many ways. Probably not these exact words, but there's probably a lot of people.
a good gist.
Like I'm getting up, I'm going to work, I'm barely making enough to survive. The amount I make, like the dollar's not worth as much as it once was, and now I have to stretch it, and now I have to pay a ridiculous amount of taxes. So I think this is just
$4 a gallon and shit for some gas.
Bro.
It's almost $5.
Almost
Well,
five.
you pay you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
I got 87 in my shit.
My car was almost $100 to fill. I was like, shit.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
this is a bonito park. Damn, $100.
Yep.
That shit hurts my soul.
I don't know. I think that this is a good, like I hadn't heard it and I was saving it just so that I can do it on camera. It's a very good articulation of what a lot of people are probably thinking and how fed up people are and how these basic problems, because I think what he's saying is nothing out of this world. He's almost saying
that was like when he mentioned the soul part, right?
Yeah, like if I had a job that was decent, that I'm okay going to work with, enough to like live and like don't be depressed and people then ignore me if I'm depressed to the point that it drives me to potentially take my own life or something. That's all I need. But instead of that, I have these people that are supposed to be representing me, for lack of a better term, telling me I'm not smart enough to know the truth. You have to stay blinded. We can't tell you the truth because you won't handle it. We're going to keep you down because we're gonna hand the handouts to these people, even though some others may need it, and we never have enough to help the homeless, but we have sufficient to send it to Ukraine, for example.
What do you think is the best country in the world?
America.
America.
What do you think is the best country in the world?
Man, I don't know, man. Because to be honest with you, I don't really consider one being the best. I feel like,
Fuck,
you
I
know,
do.
If you had to pick one, if you're like, all right, if right now you can live anywhere in the world right now, any country in the world, not a city, any country in the world right now, what country would you live in? Any time of day, we're on an audio visual broadcast.
uh, um, I would say DR.
He's bugging the fuck out.
I would say DR.
You must not realize all the motherfuckers are trying
But
to come here. But like, because I get what you're saying, but
I'm thinking about it in the standpoint of like the beauty of the country, though. But that's the thing. Every country is corrupt, so I don't really have that. I don't.
because I'm thinking about like what you're saying about this like this cultural war thing that's going
Mhm.
cultural revolution that's going on, but like sometimes you ever like sometimes complain about something that's really good and then you end up with something worse. Like you
Yeah.
ever had a really good shorty, but you're like, man, but only if she like did this a little bit more. And then whatever for whatever reason you end up breaking up with her and shit, she doesn't work out, you leave her for that. And then the next bitch is just significantly worse. You're
Worse,
like,
yeah,
Jesus
bro.
Christ, I would
Oh
take
my
my ex back in a fucking heartbeat.
heartbeat.
Or that other
Yeah,
shorty back in a heartbeat. Like this part, like that was so minuscule.
I
And I
can
think
relate to
it's a
that.
I don't know. I think that's why America is so good. It's the fact that you can have these conversations and like talk in the way that we're talking about the government. Like there's many countries in the world that just criticizing some of the people in power is likely going to cost you your life.
yeah.
So the fact that you have the ability to do so, and in some ways it's protected, in many ways, I don't think it's protected as much as it is in America, anywhere else in the world. This
Yeah.
is one of the reasons why it makes it great. And the fact that the things we're complaining about compared to 100, like 95% of the world, the problems will seem minuscule, tells us it's probably still one of the best countries. But the fact that we can complain about it to try to improve it and make it even better, it's part of the reason why I think it's great. Because even in DR, you don't have the ability to do that shit. You get what I mean? Like really go out and talk shit about the president in DR to see what's gonna happen to you. Or
Somebody's gonna pop you.
burn the flag. Something as simple as that. Like, because I get it. Like I wouldn't burn a flag, but like you have here, at least you have the freedom to do it. Because
Right.
it's considered a form of expression. Some countries, that ain't happening.
But some countries are also a little bit more like nationalist than we are because we just have like so much mixture of like so many different people.
Yeah.
So they have like a little more pride in in the country as opposed to what we do at the moment. I think honestly, I think that's all it is. Like if we could like kind of build that culture and that pride of like, all right, we're all in America and like we all live in the same country.
Well, I think
like,
because we're so diverse, that's oftentimes what causes many of our what we call as issues. It's just that we're looking at things from different perspectives, and we don't even take the time to realize that we're looking at it from different perspectives. We get so caught up on being, I think are right. I think I'm morally right based on my beliefs that the other person is wrong, and I'm not gonna take a chance to try to view it from their perspective.
Yeah, they're so closed off to different perspectives.
Yeah, and then we have so many in America because we have so many people from like religious backgrounds, any form of diversity you can think
everything.
of. Everybody's here.
Yeah.
So that's something that I wish we can find a way to do more of because I don't think we have that one thing that we are all aligned with. Like even the concept of being an American, I don't think that exists anymore in a way like. Well, you guys are pretty young, so I'll ask you, what is being an American to you?
I think there's 50 plus states, so you can find a state that fits a lot to what you wanna.
You see, but you're not answering the question. What
To
is
be
it to be an American?
to be honest, when I the first thing that comes to mind when I'm getting asked that question is everything that this man is saying. To be honest with you, like I don't get any. To be honest, I don't really get much positive thoughts. Like what I get is pretty much everything that this guy is saying. Most of what he's saying.
Like I don't view it like that. The work part of what he's saying in the song, I do view like that.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily. I don't view
Like you come here to work.
so pessimistically. Like I'm just like, all right, like it needs to be some changes. I think that if there was like a better leader, and then because the thing is that the whole system is kind of fucked up, but it's still the best country in the world. So I'm like, I feel like there can be a better leader that can put us in the best position possible for all of us as a country, as a people. But it might not, like, it's not gonna be 100% perfect because there's no way. Like there's always gonna be something lacking somewhere.
Right.
But this country has been in better times than what it currently is in now, and I feel like it could go back to that. That's all I'm trying to say. It can. I feel like with the right leader, with the good, like we've had great presidents before. Like we can have another one. I think this should change a little bit. Maybe be like 5-year terms, like 2 5-year terms or something like that.
I think it should be the opposite. I'm more of the mindset of not so much the president. I think the president being able to be in for 8 years is good. But I think if we can change what you mentioned earlier, people that have been in power for their whole life, because there's certain positions that you get appointed to, you're not even elected, and then you're there for 30, 40, 50 years, and you're just running shit from behind the scenes. So if everything within government had some form of term limits, I think that would make it a very, very unique kind of an experiment, because you're going to have new perspectives and new experiences with new people coming in. And honestly, I think whenever you have new people coming into a job, normally at the beginning, like the first few years is probably when you are the most excited, the most productive, and you have the most positive perspective going into something. Like whenever you've been in one job or maybe the same role for so long, you get jaded because you have already seen it all. So you have a lot of the negatives. So you automatically just identify the negatives. So you start being almost a pessimist by default. I don't know if you have people that have been at the same position in the kind of place that you work. Mm-hmm. Do they have the same kind of energy as somebody young who maybe appreciates a job? Or are they like, oh, I'm here trying to retire, so I'm just here. I need 2 more years and I'm out, kind of a thing. So they're just going through the motion. I wish we would find a way to change that. I think that's something that should change here.
I mean, touching on that, I feel like they do have more energy because nowadays there's a lot of people that complain. They feel like they're doing so much and like, oh, this is too much. But here you have the vet who's been doing this for, what you said, 20 plus years, doing the same. You know what I mean? This is normal to them in a sense. Like, and that's when they hit you with the, oh man, come on, you young people, blah blah blah, typical stereotypes.
Yeah, and I don't even mean the vet. Like, sometimes you do need that experience, but I think it's like when somebody's been in it for so long, it's easier for them to get corrupted.
And I think that's how they keep the secrets.
Yeah.
That's really the best way they could keep the secret, is keep those people there. And take them to islands and, you know what I'm saying? Get
take them to islands, you know?
Put a little dirt on them and shit, and then you just keep them in that spot for forever. And then at that way, they just hold the secrets. And then for like, if you look at all this shit that's been coming out about Hillary and Biden and shit, and they ain't going to jail, bro. They're not, like, nobody's really, like, it shit'll come out one day, you see it in the news, you be like, oh shit, what the fuck? If you really look at some shit, read about some shit, like, what the fuck is going on?
Type of time they on.
You never hear about that shit again when it's about the left. Because the left is running everything, but
they pay that money. Let's not talk about
Sam Bankman-Fried got out, and then nobody talk about that shit. Then nobody cover that shit.
Nah, they just dropped some of the charges. They didn't drop them all.
But he got out though.
Like, he paid bail. Yeah. He paid bail, but he still has to go back to court for the other charges.
But he got out. He bailed out at least though.
Yeah.
They ain't letting Donnie bail out. They ain't letting Young Thug bail out. Look, I mean, the crime rate is down in Atlanta.
They not letting Tory bail out.
No, they didn't let him bail out before, but he's gonna do his time.
Yeah, he's like, no, you staying in here, but
he's convicted.
Do it.
Thank you for watching another clip. Never Famous. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe yet, please do that. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Woo! Go on now. You say, hold on, I got this.